Welcome to Look Around the Confederation. I'm your host, Stephen Moose, and before we get started, please remember, the views and opinions expressed in this broadcast are not necessarily the views and opinions of the SCV, its GC, nor Division Brigade Camps or the subsidiaries, strictly those expressing them. How is everybody doing in Dixieland tonight? We have, weirdly enough, part 3 to our Army of Northern Virginia Commander interviews because of what happened the last interview where it for some reason cut off in the middle of it. We have hopefully fixed that problem. If not, Kenny's about to have a great time. But we are back with our interviews, and we're getting ready to wrap them up this beautiful Confederate History and Heritage Month. It's been a great month so far, honoring our ancestors and doing the work for them. If you are in the Army of Northern Virginia, I do ask for a little bit of help this episode and share this episode out. Me being in the Army of Tennessee, a lot of the SCV groups I'm a part of are, well, in the AOT. So it'd be really helpful if you could get this news out and these interviews out, both Jamie's and Kenny's, to your respective divisions and armies, especially you in the Army of Northern Virginia. It is very important. The whole reason I do this series is so you can get to know your candidates a little bit. And tonight is no exception, as we have on past California Division Commander, which I honestly forgot about that with you, Mr. Kenny. I always forget that you were in California for some reason. Two-term. Is that correct? Yay! I'm glad I'm not making anything up. And, of course, he's a past Lieutenant Division Commander. He is a Camp Commander or past Camp Commander. And he is, of course, past Army of Northern Virginia Councilman. So tonight we're going to have him on as he talks about his platform and his goals for Army of Northern Virginia Commander. So we are glad to have Mr. Kenny on. But before that, we're going to welcome everybody, get into news. I want you to be sharing this out during this time because this is the time for people to flock in and come and enjoy the show and enjoy Look Around the Confederation. All right, so first I do see James Lloyd from Virginia. So Jason Lloyd from Virginia. Brother, I ask that you please share this out so we can get it to all your brothers in Virginia. David Pope, it is a beautiful night here in East Tennessee. It's good to see you, brother, from Camp 87. Lloyd from Arkansas, good to see you. The Florida man from Look Around Florida, Sean McFall. How are you doing, brother? We got the Kentucky Division Commander in the chat on time. It's a very rarity. I think we all need to celebrate this fact. Got Derek Glover out of Tennessee. Got another Virginian. So I want to see this being sent to camps and stuff in Virginia. Good to see you, brother. And, of course, Johnny from Missouri. Good to see everybody. Good to see everybody. Again, I do ask that you please help me out and share this out. It is going to be a good night on this show. Al from Tennessee, good to see you. Brother, me, you, and everybody else knows you're usually late. You did send in some news, so I do get to talk about you tonight in a positive way. So, I mean... But if there was a permanent winner of the Thomas Franklin Award for being late to the show, you would win it hands down. Hands down, my brother. But it is good to see you in the chat. I have to make fun of them. It is WrestleMania season, so maybe we'll have a good WrestleMania. Oh, gosh. And, of course, I love to see it. Support between the two candidates. We have the current ANV Commander, Jamie Graham, in the chat from South Carolina. It is good to see everybody. And thank you, gentlemen, for both coming on the show and doing a great job. And, again, I ask that everybody in the ANV watch all these episodes. You can find them on the SCV chat website. It's under a member-only section, so you have to be a member of the SCV OCR UDC to get that part of the SCV chat website. But it is there. You can catch every interview for your candidate, We have both of Jamie's interviews on because it got cut. But you go to scvchat.com, hit the more section, and hit National Reunion updates. You'll scroll down and you can see your candidates for this year. I actually have to go fix Kenny's because for some reason it got the title wrong. Not anything with Kenny, luckily. So I don't have to explain anything to Kenny when he comes on because, that'd be awkward. But I got the title of the show wrong on the website, so I'm going to have to go back and edit that after the show. But yes, go check them out. I want to see a lot of view counts for that. We're going to do reruns of every episode when it gets close to the National Reunion so everybody can get to know your candidate for offices. This is very important. Yep, it is WrestleMania weekend. Should be a national holiday. I'll agree with you. I'm a big wrestling fan. Wrestling. Funny enough, I love the Southern wrestling a bit more. We always had beautiful battle flags back during the WCW days. Now everything, of course, is woke, and we can't have that. That'll be offensive and all that bull crap. Speaking of which, praying for our brothers and sisters in Virginia living in a communist state. God bless y'all. Keep up the fight, gentlemen. But I think we've allowed a bit of time, so I'm going to jump into the news. And again, we actually have some news from Kenny himself, his camp tonight. So at some point, a rare thing for these interviews, I'm going to bring one of these, the interviewee on to talk about the news before we go and do his interview. So because we all know I have a bit of a pronunciation problem. Sometimes information is lost in translation between the screen and my ears and my eyes and definitely my mouth. So I'm not going to embarrass myself. I'm going to let Kenny come on and explain his camp news. But before we get into that, let's jump into the Army of Trans-Mississippi as we talk about their field day this weekend. On the battlefield, ATM Field Day will be this Saturday, April 28th, at Mansfield Battle Park in Mansfield, Louisiana. This year's program will focus on troops from Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, as well as troops in the Red River Campaign. So plan to spend the day celebrating your honorable history and heritage. There will be speakers, food, fellowship, games, and music. So make sure that you go check out this awesome event. And of course, there wouldn't be an awesome event. I don't know what segue I was trying to go for, but it is what it is. I'm still in my work clothes. It's been a long day. But another phenomenal event coming up in a couple weeks is the 23rd annual Confederate Memorial Day service held in front of the beautiful, the largest Confederate monument in the South, Stone Mountain Confederate Memorial Park. It will be April 25th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. The keynote speaker is Pastor John Weaver. This event is sponsored by the Georgia Division Sons of Confederate Veterans. Arrive at 10 a.m. and enjoy bluegrass music by Jubilee. At 11 a.m., a cookout will be provided by the division. Then at 11:45 a.m. on the memorial lawn of the memorial service, we will begin, followed by cannon and honor guard salute. Join us for the National Confederate Memorial Day service at Stone Mountain Park in front of the world's largest monument to our beloved Confederate veteran soldiers. Be sure to bring family, food, friends, and enjoy the park after the service. Make sure you do that. Sounds like a fun event as always. Stone Mountain is always epic, Derek. I always loved it. I hate that it always falls onto the Mississippi Division Confederate Memorial Day, but one day it won't, and I will be going to Stone Mountain again. I got to go to Stone Mountain for the Georgia National Reunion. It was my first time at the beautiful memorial. My breath was taken away. I fell in love with Stone Mountain. I can't thank the Georgia Division enough for their defense of Stone Mountain and doing a phenomenal job over there in the Georgia Division. Keep up the great work, gentlemen. Of course, when you're talking about memorial services, you got to talk about the National SCV Confederate Memorial Service Pilgrimage and Homecoming event will be held at the Southern Heritage Center at Historic Elm Springs and the National Confederate Museum May 2nd. The grounds will open at 9 a.m. and they will close at 4 p.m. But the memorial service starts at 11 a.m. The master of ceremonies is Commander-in-Chief of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, Walter D. Donnie Kennedy. The keynote speaker will be Miss Teresa. She is an archivist at the United Daughters of the Confederacy, our family and sisters in the South. She is a phenomenal speaker, by the way. She spoke at the Mississippi Division reunion not too long ago, I believe last year. You're going to want to come see her speak. Trust me. Phenomenal, phenomenal speaker. Music will be by string succession. Individuals, camps, brigades, divisions, and other heritage-friendly organizations are encouraged to bring a floral tribute and to be announced as they lay their floral arrangements. The weather in the South is very unpredictable. It could be sunny and hot. It could be rainy and cold. You could need a jacket. You could need sunblock. And, of course, you could need both. So please dress appropriately. And remember, this is a memorial service. The service will be moved inside if the weather is bad. Bring a lawn chair and refreshments. And remember, everybody, no alcohol allowed. So I hope to see everybody at that phenomenal, phenomenal event. Hoping that SCV Chat will get to once again, film and bring that service to y'all all across the Dixie land. It seems like everybody is doing good in the chat. Good to see everybody. Next up will be Camp Beauregard Memorial Service hosted by the Beauregard Camp 1460. I see Kenny leaning up in the chair. Thank you. Kenny. I probably could have brought him on and he could have helped me out, but I'm not going to do that to Kenny just yet. I'll have to call him out anyway. It will be April 26th at 2 p.m. The guest speaker will be the phenomenal First Lieutenant Division Commander of the Tennessee Division, if I'm not mistaken, Richard Garcia. He is also a phenomenal speaker. Mr. Rich has been on the show numerous times, and we always love having him on, and I always love talking to him. He is a brother in the South, a great man, and does a phenomenal job over there in the Tennessee Division. This is a time of remembrance and reflection, honoring history and heritage of the South. The camp will also be having a placing of the first national flags on grave markers, the Stars and Bars. So join us April 25th at 2 p.m. And they place it and take a moment to remember the brave men of the South. Now, our next bit of news takes us to Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken. As the Kentucky Division was on hand for the 2026 Tater Day Festival in Benton, Kentucky this past weekend. The Colonel Alfred Johnson Camp 276 and the Colonel Charles Wycliffe Camp 2337 recruited and had a wonderful time at this event. Of course, I wanted to put this picture up of our chaplain-in-chief, Mr. Tom Hitter, with a lovely baby boy. It looks like maybe a future member. Hey. And by, of course, the beautiful national logo for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. And, of course, I wouldn't do my job if I didn't throw up the great Kentucky Division Commander, Thompson. And, again, thank y'all for y'all's great work down there. I'm glad y'all had a great time. Recruitment boost. Everybody recruit. Get more great men in this great organization. And thank y'all for doing that. And I'm glad you guys had a great time. Oh, it's his new grandson. Congratulations to our chaplain-in-chief. Good to see you, Ryan. I'm sorry. I saw your message in Facebook Messenger the other day. Dr. Hyder. And I just have not been able to respond with work. The lovely man correcting me, as always, is the legend, past Commander-in-Chief, and, fun fact, the most sharp-dressed man in the SCV, past Commander-in-Chief Paul Gramlin. Good to see you. Good to see you. And, of course, the captain of the Mississippi 1G, Smiley. Good to see you, Cap. How are you, brother? Hope everything's good up there. And of course, Captain has perfect timing, as the next bit of news we're going to talk about and kind of wrap this up, or my part of this, is the Mississippi Division is happy to announce its Confederate Memorial Day service. It'll be held down at Beauvoir, the Jefferson Davis Home and Presidential Library. This year's speaker will be Lieutenant Commander-in-Chief Tony Griffin. All are encouraged to bring floral tributes for laying at the national recognized Tomb of the Unknown Confederate Soldiers. Meat and tea will be provided. Please bring your favorite side dish to participate. We are looking forward to seeing everybody there. Please note, all are encouraged to bring a floral tribute for the laying of the wreath ceremony at the national recognized Tomb of the Unknown Confederate Soldier. Please email your name and title, organization, camp/chapter number to harrisondallsscv@gmail.com by April 23rd for our announcements. That really helps me out. So please, please. And we're looking forward to having everybody there. It is always a fun time being at the Beauvoir House where Jefferson Davis spent his last years after the war. And it is a beautiful, beautiful event. So I am hoping to see a lot of y'all there. Now, we have wrapped up the news, and I promised him I would be giving him a proper introduction, but I do need his help with the news. So we're going to welcome him, then we're going to take him off and give him an introduction. Poor Kenny. But everybody, please welcome Kenny Ramsey. He is going to help us with the last bit of this news, and then we're going to give him a proper introduction and let him get on to his interview.
Thank you, Moose, and hey, good evening, everybody.
Well, your camp sent a lot of stuff in, and I just, again, with you coming on, there was a perfect opportunity for you to talk about it. So I'm happy to have you on to talk about camp news. And again, if your camp is doing anything special, please reach out to us. We love having people on. But the first bit of news is this.
All right, that, if you see at the bottom, my camp is the Captain David Williams Holly Shelter Volunteers Camp 2267. We, after some all types of history, digging into everything, Captain Williams formed the Holly Shelter Volunteers, was a great captain. He served up until the Battle of Sharpsburg, and after 2 charges that he led, he was hit by cannon fire and was deceased. He was buried on the battlefield in an unmarked grave, never to be found for sure anywhere. When the word got back home to his family, his wife, who had 5 kids all under the age of 17, was so upset that, according to the family Bible, she, quote, took to her bed, refused to eat, and she died 31 days later. They were both members of the Mount Williams Church, which is just a few miles from where my camp is, which is the church that his father gave the money to build. His memorial was at that church after he was killed. Her funeral was at that church. She is buried in the church ground, but because of the controversy with kids and everything, she never had a proper tombstone. My camp has now secured a cenotaph Confederate stone for him in memorial and a proper tombstone for his wife. And we have just installed those at the cemetery. We will be having a dedication and a memorial service on the last day of May. We will have the full honor guard, volleys, morning ladies. The local UDC is helping us with that, everything. And we will have, I've got promises from at least 6 of their direct descendants, some from as far away as Alaska, that want to come and honor them.
That is a wonderful thing y'all are doing, to put up a stone for a great Confederate veteran. And of course, his wife. It sometimes breaks my heart to see that the wives of these heroes that also suffered a lot dearly during the war, won't have headstones, and I'm very proud of y'all for doing that. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
And of course, some other great news is y'all are participating in the billboard campaign.
Yes, we are. That is the you've seen this same the same picture other places, but to our knowledge, this is the first Confederate themed billboard in Eastern North Carolina in many years, if ever. This was a collaboration. It was headed up by my camp. We took part in the national giving out $500 to each division. My camp said, we'll match the money if we can put it down here near Wilmington in our area. Another camp thought that was a good idea. They popped up some money, and our division did a little bit more, and we got the sign up. And then the Wilmington camp loved it, so they have now paid to keep it up for a second month. And we are getting a lot of interest in wanting to put these up everywhere else since we now have all the contacts.
Wow, that is phenomenal.
And this is just outside the liberal city of Wilmington.
And that's even better. Glad to hear y'all in North Carolina taking it to the woke Marxists, as still a quote from the Kennedys.
Yep.
But and this last bit of news, I think I know what it's about, but I'm going to let you do the talking.
All right. This was pretty simple. The local high school, one of them, we had a little trouble getting a nominee this year, but at the Trask High School that is near us, we were given the name of a cadet, Corporal Reynosa. We awarded him just a couple of days ago the H.L. Hunley Award. He knew ahead of time he was getting it. It doesn't show in the picture, but his entire unit was in full assembly, standing at attention when we made the award. It was so important that his older brother, who was last year graduate at that high school, JROTC, who is now a specialist with the U.S. Army, came back from Fort Bragg just to witness him getting the award. And also his father was there, and they were very honored. And his father didn't want to be in the picture, but it was a great event, and everybody was really cheering it on. So,
well, that is awesome. I love seeing the Hunley Award out and about, so to speak. So thank y'all again for keeping that alive, Commander, and thank you for everything y'all have done. And that is the end of the news. So we're going to go into a quick commercial break, and when we get back, we're going to start the interview with, of course, Mr. Ramsey. And so thank you, Mr. Kenny, and we will be right back with that. But first, let's thank our sponsors. Of course, you can go check us out on scvchat.com, and you can get a lot of stuff on our beautiful website. And, of course, get an awesome sponsorship deal. But you can also check us out on Patreon. For $2.50 a month, you can feed a moose. That's some general support that really does go a long way in helping us. And, of course, for $10 a month, you can become a real chat head where you get your name displayed at the end of every SCV Chat produced episode. And you get behind-the-scenes content and hopefully a whole lot more as we are getting ready to do some great projects. So you'll get exclusive first viewing of that. And, of course, you get to talk to me and GCB. Of course, for $30 a month, you get exclusive SCV Chat merchandise that not even me and Con or the owners of SCV Chat will be able to get. And, of course, for $8 a month, you can join our great sponsors, like Dr. Chris Cummins, MD of Oxford, Mississippi. Have you fallen off a fence? Have you tweaked your knee? Have you stabbed your eye with a stick? Well, have no fear. Go check out Dr. Chris Cummins, MD in Oxford, Mississippi. He'll make you feel good and treat you with some great Southern hospitality to the point you want to skip that apple a day so you can go see the doctor. And a big update, he texted me today, and we will be updating his slide. He has a new address, 105 Heritage Drive, Suite 111. So how cool is that? He's on Heritage Drive. And, of course, he wanted to point out that he is a great life member of the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and he has been treating knee pain and Again, he'll make you feel good. And of course, our next sponsor is 31st Regiment Engraving. They have some great merchandise. Of course, they're engraving bottles now, which is awesome, which I want to get. And of course, they make these great memorial bands for your ancestor. Again, I get to put this on every day so I can remember Private Esso Dawes and remember why I'm in this crazy organization and fighting these crazy people. So it always helps me, keeps me aligned, and I highly encourage everybody to get one. And of course, look at all the other great merchandise he has. He has a bottle opener, challenge coins, earrings, and so much more. So go check that out at www.31stregengraving.com, and you won't be sorry. Speaking of great merchandise, you should also check out Beauregard's Tailor, a family-driven business proudly offering authentic War Between the States reproductions, T-shirts, flags, lapel pins, and so much more. Crafted with exceptional research and unmatched quality, whether it's T-shirts, reenacting gears, or these beautiful flags, which I'm planning on buying one soon. It is kind of my gift to myself for finally graduating college. Hey, so I'm getting the university grades. I'm a geek. Don't worry about it. But you can get some great flags from this guy and some great historical research as well. Just go check him out at www.beauregardstailor.shop. And of course, our next sponsor is the beautiful museum at Market Hall in South Carolina, home of the Confederate Museum since 1899. It is open Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. If the flag is out, they are open. Admission is $10 for adults, $3 for kids 6 to 12. Kids 5 and under are free for military and veterans, and the handicap accessible as well. Whew. And they also have a great store. Only $5 shipping, everybody. And trust me, they have a great store of beautiful shirts, great flags, and great books. And here's just some of the great artifacts they have. Of course, that beautiful Beauregard painting, these beautiful flags. I am a sucker for a great Confederate flag, the military uniforms, a deadgum cannon. I don't know about y'all, but I'm happy to say I'm a redneck and I love seeing cannons. So if you love all that, go check out the museum at Market Hall and you won't be disappointed. And our last sponsor is the Sam Davis Home and Museum. There are many things you can do at the historic Sam Davis Home and Museum in Tennessee. You can go have a picnic outside, walk through the herb garden, discover a nature trail, bring your dog for a game of catch, visit a 19th century smokehouse, kitchen, slave cabins, and so much more. Visit the final resting place of Sam Davis and several family members. Inside, you can watch a film about Sam Davis, explore the museum galleries, participate in a scavenger hunt, tour the historic home, and visit their great gift shop for souvenirs, handmade and local made goods. Pro tip, give yourself about an hour and a half to 2 hours to fully enjoy your experience. You can check them out for more information at www.samdavishome.org. We want to thank all our wonderful sponsors for keeping the lights on and helping us reclaim the narrative 1 week at a time. We could not do it without you. And when we get back, it is time. And Mr. Kenny, don't feel rushed if you're seeing the time. You have all the time you need. We will have on current Lieutenant Commander of the North Carolina Division, past Army of Northern Virginia Councilman, and, of course, past two-time California Division Commander Kenny Ramsey on talk about his platform for Army of Northern Virginia Commander. We'll be right back after this quick message.
There is a place nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain. Surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Welcome back to Look Around the Confederation as we start our interview with, of course, Mr. Kenny Ramsey, Lieutenant Division Commander of the North Carolina Division.
Yes.
Thank you, Commander, for coming on. And just first, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing quite well. I'm been busy, but everything's going great.
Well, that's good to hear, Commander. And of course, we start off every interview the same way. We want to hear more about you personally and your SCV career so far. So, Commander, take it away.
You want personal family first, or you want SCV first? I'll be very quick.
Oh no,
you can. Been married been married many years. I got 5 kids, 6 grandkids, and they all keep me really busy. Other than that, I spend all my time on SCV stuff. I'm retired, don't have any other business or anything else to do. So as far as SCV, he's already been over. I've been pretty much filled up pretty much every position there is up to Army Councilman. I started out back in 2000, and I joined the headquarters, McCain Camp, because there was no camp near me out in California. But I went around, visited other camps, talked to the division commander at that time, and I started my own camp, and I started it up with 9 people. I remained the commander there from the beginning up until I left California. Worked my way up and immediately started going to national reunions, every division reunion, visiting all the camps in California fairly recent visits, even though it's pretty spread out over there, and learned all I could about SCV. Way back in the early 2000s, that's when I met many of our current still commanders, past division or past national commanders. Met our current commander-in-chief had him out for a division reunion back about 2005, if I remember right. I'm proud to say that my first camp is still going very strong. I went through life with my work and military. I have been to every division reunion in whatever state I was in since I got in, and every national reunion since 2002, except for the second one, 2003, and I couldn't avoid missing it because I was in a very friendly place called Iraq. But I even paid then so I could get the medal to have a complete collection of medals. And I have literally spent most of my adult life working to be able to afford to spend more time with the SCV stuff. My family has had to put up with me saving vacations so that I could go to national reunions and various things like that. And I've devoted my life to the SCV. Since I retired, it's just pretty much all I do all the time. even as the North Carolina Lieutenant Commander. For several years now, I've gone to other division reunions as well as ours, South Carolina, Virginia especially. I've been to West Virginia reunion, trying to keep the feel of the people, of the members, see what they want, see what they're talking about. And I've also strived to, I pretty much know, I've memorized everything about our Constitution and bylaws, our serving at time for several times as the inspector in chief. I can tell you the disciplinary system inside out. I've just learned everything I could about SCV, and I'm still ready to continue serving. So,
well, thank you, Commander. Yes, sir. You you've been around the block, so to speak. You I believe, like most people running, have served at a lot of positions in this organization, and we thank you for not only your service to the SCV, but of course our country. And so, kind of dive into the questions. What motivated you to run for the Army of Northern Virginia commander position?
well, a lot of what I just said is what was my motivation. I have always devoted myself to the SCV. In every level, and especially being on the National General Staff for several different terms, and especially actually being on the GEC, I learned that. And I will say, anybody that gets on the GEC, their first few meetings, they're just in a learning phase to get caught up. I fit in. It took me a little while to be able to get right in with everything, but pretty soon I did. I was able to join right in with all of it, and I'm ready to get back to doing that. There's a lot that's been done really good. I can't say anything's bad that's been done. I was a big part of several good things that happened. We really worked hard to get the museum debt paid off while I was on. Quite a few things that we did, but I just want to get back up on the GEC to help make these decisions and shape our future and keep everything going. That's pretty much my reasoning, my motivation to get on. I've devoted my life to it, and I want to continue.
All right. Well, thank you, Commander. How do you envision your role contributing to the overall missions and goals of the organization? You've talked about the museum with now that paid off. What are some other things?
Well, we still need to, as most of us know, pay ourselves off with the Brooks Fund. That's still in the works. There's a lot of things that are already in the works that we need to get done, such as Forest Plaza and everything. And I know they're in the works, but they're still going to take more money. We need to be working on that. But as far as my role in the ANV, I see that as I will be out there as easily reachable advisor, some might call it a mentor, to assist in anything that might come up, or just answer questions if they weren't sure about some issue. I'll be available 24/7. I've never had any problem with giving my phone number and email, all that out, my contact info. It's always been public, and I try to answer any phone call that comes in. I know each division runs itself. I would never interfere with anything they're doing, but I will be there to help them or answer questions if they did. Now, as far as the GEC level, I've been there. I know how it works. I'll never say, yes, I'm going to get up there and this is what I will do, because I'd only be one of around a dozen votes in that. I'd go up there and I would try my best to consider anything that come up, good, bad, or whatever we had to discuss. Work with all the other members and come to a consensus is what's best for the organization, and go with that. If everybody else thought I was wrong, they're probably right, and I would go along with it. I would never push my way over everybody else. So whatever we do, I would strive to do what's best for the Sons of Confederate Veterans.
All right. Well, thank you again, Commander, getting some good answers here tonight. And so we're going to move on to, can you share any specific initiatives or changes you would like to implement if elected to Army of Northern Virginia Commander?
Well, some of this may have already been instituted going on, but because I have not been at the GEC level, I do know back when I was on a couple of years ago, we were constantly talking about the webpage. That's been going on several years, trying to figure out what to do, and it kind of kept getting pushed off. And I am really glad to see that the current GEC is finally getting that done. And I don't know all the nuances of that. I know it's not up yet, but it will be. I am big in social media myself. And one thing I hear from members everywhere, and I have for a long time, is they don't always know what's going on. I know we've got all of the different vehicles to let people know, but somehow messages just don't get down. You can funnel down through the ranks and get stopped at any level. All it takes is one person to not pass it on. One thing that I would really push on my part, I want to see from the national level, every agenda from the GEC and every minutes of a GEC meeting that was a public meeting, I want to see it published on the website in a timely manner, available to any member. And keeping in mind that there are members out there that don't do social media, don't even have email. I would also, if it's possible, which I don't know, like to see those also published in the Confederate Veteran Magazine. That would let people know what's going on at the national level, or at least give them an idea of what's being discussed. So that is one of the things I would like to see come out. Again, not knowing everything that's going on, some of this might already have been taken care of, but I don't know. That's just my ideas on some of the things I might would do.
Yes, sir. Yeah, no, I believe social media is, of course, extremely important. Being the poor guy that got thrown that bone, I can't wait to see what we can make of it. So I am happy to hear that. Next up would be, of course, we talked about this a bit tonight with the Virginia division going through what they've going through. And, this is kind of a two-part question, so I'll ask this first part. In your opinion, what are the most pressing challenges facing the Sons of Confederate Veterans today, and how do you think we should be addressing them?
Well, that is actually a pretty hard one, because one of our most pressing challenges is the same that it's been for years, is attrition. Our numbers have dropped slowly over the years. We're the lowest level we've been in probably quite a few years. And it's almost the same answer all the time, except I'm saying we need to even get more active. We need to be more proactive, trying to come up with effective ways to recruit members, and especially younger members. Some ways to get the younger people's interest. Now, some areas, and I'm not saying all, I've got ideas. I know what my camp does and several other camps in the area. Something that gets member or possible member retention is to partner up, if they're willing, with the local American Legion or VFW, and that gets you a lot of contacts, and they might get you some interest. Or, as we've already brought up, I just did a Hunley Award. I didn't even mention the word Confederate exactly, but I gave them a full, probably 15-minute talk about the H.L. Hunley and exactly what it did, what it accomplished. And it got their interest, and they're wanting me to come back and talk to them some more about various things. Small things like that just pique interest of especially the younger people. And that may help us. And it's going to be a hard way to go there just to get the young people's interest, because we've been working on it for years. That's just a few of my ideas. My camp also has, and I've recommended it all over North Carolina, join the local Chamber of Commerce. Here, they advertise our events. We're welcome. I go wear this same shirt to Chamber of Commerce. I wear it to ribbon cuttings and, store openings and everything like that. And we get the word out. And effectively, in the last probably year and a half, we've gone from 18 members up to currently 26. And I just now answered an email from another prospective member. So if you really push it, it can happen. I'm not saying it'll happen everywhere, but it does take being very proactive.
Yes, sir. Well, I definitely like to hear that. I do think we need to do some hard looking into different ways to recruit. And I mean, not one person's idea is going to fit perfectly here. I like seeing what works for different camps and telling everybody, okay, this worked here, this worked here, this worked here. You know the area, you know the potential members. Let's figure out what would work for you. So I'm very thankful that you're looking into the recruitment issue. And kind of the two part of that question, everybody knows this. You even talked about it a bit. Regarding our PR, our public perception, how do you plan to navigate the potential controversies and criticisms surrounding the SCV? I mean, that probably is one of our biggest obstacles in recruiting, is the image that our enemies have thrown on us. And it's a hard fight to get that image off. So do you have any thoughts about that?
Well, that is also one of our hardest things we have to do. I've been dealing with it somewhat for a while. As I mentioned, we couldn't do a Hunley Award at our other high school simply because we've done it for years, but suddenly this year, the colonel called me and said, well, we had one of our students that Googled the Sons of Confederate Veterans, and he's telling everybody it's a racist organization, so we had to put it off this year. I didn't respond. I did go talk to the colonel. I took him a copy of our magazine. I pulled up our website, such as it is, on Facebook. I said, please find anything in there that is even remotely racist, sexist, or anything else. Yes, we only take men, but that's the way it's always been. It's not sexist. We do have associate members and all of our outlying people that are associated with us that are both genders, and there's only two. It's a hard thing to do, but also, in my opinion, a lot of times the best thing we can do is ignore them. In some cases, just ignore them and go ahead, do what we do, and prove them wrong by just holding our head high and continuing on with doing our stuff honorably. I don't believe in going out. If they want to protest, I don't believe in going out and getting in fights or retaliating against them. That would just look bad on us. We need to hold our head high. And I'm old. Maybe my thoughts are wrong, but I firmly believe that the tide is turning the other way some. And I think eventually it's going to get where everybody's laughing at the protesters and the guys that are against us instead of us. So that's wishful thinking, I know, but I do see in some instances it's turning the tide.
Oh yes, sir. It's I do think we do have some momentum right now, and like you said, I really hope we capitalize on it and get things moving in the good direction that I know it can. We're down to the last couple of questions, and of course, this is a question that a lot of people have asked us to ask, and of course, you talked about communication a bit earlier. How would you engage with the broader membership of your Army, of course, to ensure their perspectives and concerns are considered in the decision-making process. That's just a lot of people that are really wanting to make sure their voices are heard.
Well, again, it goes back to some things that I've already said. And the way I am in North Carolina, the way I was in California, my contact information is published. I'm readily available to anyone that has questions. I absolutely have always gone out, will continue to go out to visit camps when I can, or other divisions. And, if ANV, I would go make my rounds of the various divisions and possibly camps and anything else going on, services, as my schedule would let me. But I would be there to listen, and I'm not going to go out and interfere with a camp or a division at all. But I will say, can I help you? And what are your concerns? And I would, in fact, take them back to the GEC and have them considered. They may be good ideas. They might not be so good ideas, but I would listen, and I would do what I could to take care of it.
Well, thank you, Commander. Again, that was one that's always been – we've been asked to ask that question from our audience. That seems to always be a concern when it's around election time for the Army position specifically. Me and you talked about this because I was trying to make sure I understood everything right. The councilman represents the membership. The commander represents the divisions. But, people are still worried about making sure they're heard and they're talked about and they're explained whatever is happening. So thank you for answering that question. And our last question, and of course, you've touched on this a bit, but we are having some exciting things coming up in the future. So I always like asking this one. Last question, looking ahead, what would you envision as key milestones, accomplishments that the Sons of Confederate Veterans could potentially complete, at least get started on during your tenure if you win as Army of Northern Virginia Commander?
Well, as I've mentioned, get us out of debt even to ourselves. Have it, get everything paid off. Get the Forest Plaza in place. Continue gathering what we can in any way we can to get the museum built up even better than the great museum we have. I have ideas. A lot of Confederate things are not in a lot of public museums in various areas. We possibly could even borrow or get donated stuff from other museums. There's a lot of things we can do. We absolutely have to get out and do a lot of recruiting and stuff. I would probably continue also with some of the great works. I respect a lot of things that the last 2 or 3 GECs have done. And I would build on everything we've been doing for the last few years. It's all, in my opinion, it's been going in the right direction for several years. And, we need to continue at every level, like I just said, holding our head high and showing our detractors that show them what we really are. We're not what these keyboard warriors out there want to try to paint us as. We're not out there trying to refight the war. We're out there for our own purpose, and we're going to do it right when we can. And that's pretty much it. I would continue what we're doing, a few new ideas when they were appropriate.
Well, thank you, Commander, for coming on. We have a couple minutes left. If we get any questions, would you like to answer some of the people's questions?
Sure.
We are running close on time.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you see the comments?
I cannot see the comments.
Okay. Let's see if I can fix that. So you've talked about the Hunley Award and, of course, the difficulties. And so this one's more probably about your experience as a camp commander. From Victor Smith out of the Florida division, What are some steps you've taken to make sure that you can get the Hunley Award into these programs again? Because it has been a challenge for a lot of camps, and it seems like you've been pretty successful in that regard.
Well, in my area, we've got 2 high schools. They've both been pretty receptive up until this year. It does help too that I'm a member of the American Legion, and quite frequently we work together to go to their awards day if the school has one, and American Legion and SCV do their awards at the same thing. And as far as my military service, that the part of it is the American Legion. I'm in that, and I'm just well known around town. I do take part in non-SCV services quite a bit. Any veteran funeral, I try my best to attend it and get it out there. And I mention the Hunley Award. I bring it up every chance I get around the high school. I call the schools at the beginning of the year to remind them that we have this award, and they need to be keeping an eye, because it's up to them to decide who best fits getting that reward. And I did have a question asked this year from the school that turned me down, or they didn't exactly turn me down. They just said it's best to not do it this year. They said, well, you don't have any criteria on the award. And I said, yes, that is one. If he wants to say we're racist, tell him. We don't care. We do not say any particular race, sex, anything else for the award. Just an outstanding cadet that is chosen by this unit. We don't care. So that kind of word kind of got out too. So we'll be able to do it next year.
That's awesome. And I mean, me and you've kind of talked about this, not tonight, but just getting involved in your community is a big deal in helping with stuff like this.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like you've done a phenomenal job of that. I'm very thankful to have to see that becoming more of a thing where people get super involved in their communities. So I would be happy to see more of that.
Right. There is a lot of things. There's a lot of things I do that sort of help us that possibly you can't do in some other areas. Like I am also big in my political party. I'm the precinct chair for my precinct. I go to party meetings when I can. I have a lot of friends. Our current county commissioners in Pender County, named after William Dorsey Pender, I am good friends with all of them. About 3 meetings ago, just before the election, I had 3 county commissioners attend our meeting and were very supportive. So things like that, just make friends with the people that are in charge, the people that are running things. And it really helps for recognition and acceptance.
Well, thank you, Commander. And thank you for your time. We do have one more question from Mr. Tom Vernon. How could a member get more involved and active on the national level?
Well, the first thing I would say is make sure to attend national reunions. Meet people from other areas, and especially whoever the current officers are. Like I said, I met Commander Donnie Kennedy back in the early 2000s, and he's been a good friend ever since. I mean, see him every year. Some of the ones I met many years ago when it came on up and I expressed an interest, I became an aide-de-camp at the national level just because they knew me and knew what I was about. So you do have to somewhat work it, but you have to be known at the national level to get involved. If they know you, they will help you get up, and especially if you talk to them and express an interest.
Well, thank you, Commander, again for coming on and answering these audience questions. It was always a privilege to have you on, sir. Always a good time. Again, thank you. I ask everybody, please share this episode out, specifically or especially, let me rephrase, if you are in the Army of Northern Virginia, so we can get this out to the lovely camps, divisions, and brigades of that Army. We ask that y'all tune in Friday. I don't know. David had to leave early, so I don't know if they're having an episode tomorrow, but he usually in the Friends of the Douglas Southall Freeman group has an event episode on Fridays. And of course, on Sundays, you have Hardy on history. And also this Monday, me and GCB will be looking at Matt Walsh's newest documentary and reviewing Matt Walsh's take on the war between the states. We will be reviewing it. This will not be a reaction like we are accustomed to. There will be some clips involved, yes, but this is more of a review and a breakdown. Think of a critic. And so we will be reacting to our first, reviewing our first doc. This has been making a lot of headway, especially with it coming out during Confederate History and Heritage Month, which must have been some good PR by his team. And so we'll be seeing, is it accurate? Does it tell the story fairly? Is it possibility one of the best documentaries on the war between the states in the recent decade? Maybe. Is it another piece of woke media? We'll see, and we'll talk about it come Monday. So check it out. Again, we've had big episodes, all Confederate History and Heritage Month on the Monday show, SCV Chat. Go check out the first episode with Mr. Gill, the director at the museum at Market Hall. And, of course, last week we had, or this week we had Mr. Jeb Smith on to talk about his book, Defending Dixieland, which was a phenomenal book that has a lot of resources on defending the South against these woke people, against these fake historians. So we've been knocking it out of the ballpark, I have to say. And if you guys could go back and rewatch these video episodes or share them out, it'd make a great deal. We want to have big numbers for April and get the message about our Confederate heroes out to as many people as possible this month. So we're going to be continuing that next week with reviewing Matt Walsh's new documentary on the war between the states and seeing, is it historically accurate, or is it like the rest of these documentaries that everybody's been releasing this past couple of years. With that, I will ask that, again, please share this out and tune in to SCV Chat this Monday at 7 p.m. Confederate Standard Times. And please make sure to send your pictures, short videos, and write-ups to scvyouthoutreach@gmail.com, and you'll be featured on the upcoming episode of Look Around the Confederation. I have been your host of the evening, Moose, joined by, of course, Lieutenant Commander of the North Carolina Division, Kenny Ramsey, talking about his platform for Army of Northern Virginia Commander. We want to thank everybody for tuning in, and remember, my friends, to stay Southern. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Moose. Thank you, compatriots.